Hello, Bayou Blitz family. The New Orleans Saints trail at halftime in Charlotte, North Carolina to the Carolina Panthers. Score 13-0 at halftime. Brendan Boylan here with Bob Rose. Bob, it has been brutal for the New Orleans Saints offense for yet another week. However, the defense has, for the most part, held their own, keeping New Orleans in the game. The big play coming early in the first quarter with the Kamara fumble return for a touchdown. Outside of that, like I said, defense has only allowed 6 points. Bob, let's start with some of the positives of the game. Where are you at with the defense right now?
Positives. I'll let you know if I find any, Brendan. Um, the Saints got not consistently, but they did get a little bit of pressure on Baker Mayfield. Coverage in the secondary. Knock on wood, since that's the only remaining thing that hasn't gone wrong for New Orleans. Coverage in the secondary has been solid, which has allowed pressure to get to Mayfield or forced him to just throw the ball away at times. And like you said, Brendan, the Saints are playing good pass defense. Their run defense concerns me a little bit right now. I'm not going to say Carolina is controlling the ball on the ground, but they're able to move the chains and at least possess the football, but mostly through their running game. The Saints have come up big, stopping McCaffrey or Hubbard on a couple plays in the backfield or stalling them at the line of scrimmage. That has got to continue. The team needs to make plays defensively, obviously, because the offense, to say the least, is in complete disarray. And the entire team, but especially offensively, the entire team is sloppy, disorganized, and frankly, on offense, look disinterested. And it's been, I have other adjectives, but I'll just use the word disappointing to watch.
There we go. Unmute myself. That's a positive thing. New Orleans Saints can't seem to get anything going on the ground. Kamara's clearly not 100%. Jameis Winston still off timing-wise. The offensive line is still, for an offensive line that we thought was going to be pretty strong going into the season and returned a lot of key pieces from what's been a top 5 offensive line the last few years in the league. The offensive line is clearly struggling, both inside and out, for yet another week. And Bob, before we got on, I had said that, you finally find a positive in the first quarter and you finally connect with Chris Olave, which they tried to do. And to a point, I think they started forcing the attempts down the field last week and week 2. They finally hit him. And honestly, at first glance, it was a good catch. On second glance, considering he took the contact the way that he did, the ball kind of bobbled in his hand. He was able to hold on. Great catch by Olave, but you're not able to turn it into any points. And then you have the kick blocked. So going into the second half, New Orleans gets the ball to start. What do you need to see out of this offense?
They got to continue to move the ball through the air. And I know coming in, we thought that the Saints' best chance for offensive success would be on the ground. That's not been the case so far. You can't abandon the running game whatsoever. I mean, you're only down 13-0, so you're still very much in this game. But Michael Thomas has gotten open. And Chris Olave has had a solid first half. Jameis Winston is looking for Jarvis Landry, so I think it's only a matter of time before he finds him. But right now, you need to rely on your receivers. You need to get the ball out of Jameis's hands quick, while sending one of those wideouts down the field to give you another option if protection actually holds up for a change. And I know Jameis has not been sacked in the first half, but he's been pushed and rushed out of the pocket a couple of times. Rushed on his throws. And the offensive line just needs a better performance. This team has to actually show up to play to come out in the second half, and they need something with this drive. Again, 13-0, you're still very much in it, but just for momentum case, you need to get something out of this drive. A few first downs, a field goal, put the ball in the end zone for God's sake. But you need to get something out of this drive.
I'll only ask it because we have fans asking it. Fans of the show asking, do we see Andy Dalton at all in this game? Or if the Saints do not come out on top here in week 3, is that a serious consideration heading into week 4?
Well, first of all, for the second half, honestly, before that last New Orleans drive, I would have said that there's a strong possibility that they put Dalton in, and I'd have supported that. Yeah, but Jameis looked like he woke up a little bit. The offense looked like it woke up for one brief shining moment. But if you continue to struggle offensively through these first couple drives in the second half, I do think that you pull the trigger and put Andy Dalton in. If you struggle throughout the entirety of the second half, either by replacing Jameis or just riding Jameis till the end of the game, I think you really consider it. But again, it depends on Jameis's health. If he can make, like I said in the pregame, if he can make all the throws that you need him to make, and you can actually protect him, then Jameis Winston still provides you a much better chance for success than Andy Dalton.
And before we go into what the Saints can do to come back and win the football game, how much do you think Jameis's back is the issue opposed to just timing with his receivers, or do the two go hand in hand?
I think they partially go hand in hand. Timing with the receivers has been thrown off by the lack of pass protection, even though, again, it is slightly better this game. But when Jameis is moving, it's when Jameis moves out of the pocket that, in my opinion, you really notice him, laboring with his back a little bit. Again, all the more reason to actually protect your quarterback, New Orleans Saints. The timing with the receivers, that it does have to get better. But the couple of slants to Michael Thomas and the completions to Thomas in the first quarter, and then again on that last second quarter drive, that shows me that the timing is improving. But when you have a quarterback in labor and in pain, you have to keep him in the pocket. You have to get you have to allow him to get rid of the ball on time. So that falls down to the Saints offensive line.
Well, Bob, how do the Saints come back and win this football game?
They obviously need to get a turnover or two on defense, because at this point you can't rely on that offensive squad whatsoever. Having said that, you need Jimmy Gumbo, the chop block against Ingram, convenient. It really chopped down their momentum, but you do need to play more disciplined if you're New Orleans. Again, it's just a sloppy, undisciplined bunch right now. You got to get something out of this first drive that they're going to get the ball on in the second half, and then, like I said, you nip and chip away at this lead while your defense hopefully does its thing.
Yeah, absolutely. Do not try to get this back in one play. I know that's one thing that has got Jameis Winston in trouble throughout his NFL career, but this one's still in reach if the Saints are able to come out and score on the first drive. For me, Bob, I'm going to say the defense needs to continue to do its thing. You had talked about in the pregame show looking towards the Honey Badger to come away with a turnover or two, or a takeaway or two, rather. The Saints definitely need that. Offensively, find some balance. And stick with it when it comes to the run game. And hopefully New Orleans is able to connect on another deep bomb or some chunk plays, but don't try to get it back all at once. Well, we hope you guys enjoy the second half. You can follow Bob Rose on Facebook and Twitter. You see it there on your screen. And for myself, you can follow me on Instagram and Twitter at BT Boylan. It's there on your screen. Until Wednesday, where we have another episode of the Bayou Blitz. I'm Brendan Boylan. That's Bob Rose. Enjoy the second half. And as always, find peace, spread love, practice positivity. We'll see you on Wednesday.